Today, I want to tell you about a Brazilian composer by the name of Heitor Villa Lobos. He was born in Rio de Janeiro in 1887. His father was a librarian for work, but he was also a musician on the side. He loved playing music. His mother was a homemaker, but his mother loved the music as well. So they would host these circles at their home weekly, and they would just have musicians over. Many of them had other jobs, but they would just sit there and play music, all kinds of music, whatever they knew or could think of. And that was actually the beginning of Heitor's musical education. When he was around 6 years old, his dad started teaching him. He taught him cello, he taught him clarinet, and he would sit in and play along with the musicians. He fell in love with the street musicians. They're little groups of musicians called coroas, I think, and their guitars and flutes and these simple percussion instruments. It's exciting and fun, and these are just small groups all over the streets, all over town, the city, and it was just brought everything to life, and he loved that music. Now, when he was only 12 years old, his father suddenly passed away. So he used his skills that he had developed at that point as a musician and started performing in theaters and other local places so that he could help support the family. Once he was old enough for college, his mom really, really wanted him to be a physician, a doctor, but he wanted to be a musician. And he went and did that. What he did was he started traveling all over Brazil, through the Amazon forest, up the mountains, down the mountains, and he was exploring the country, but he was really focused on the music of the different tribes, of the different places, the different instruments, the different, whatever could be different. He wanted everything that was Brazilian music, and he wanted to learn it all. Now, he had many adventures, and he would talk about them frequently throughout the rest of his life. Some of it might be a little made up, though, but he did find Brazilian music everywhere, and he incorporated all that into his own later on. In 1913, he met and married a girl named Lucilia, and she was a pianist. She would perform his pieces, she helped promote his pieces, and that kind of brought him some stability for a little while. He was really influenced by Brazilian music, but he was also influenced by the romantic music from Europe, and he would combine these and create his own feel, and his wife was helping perform this all over and bring it everywhere. Now, in the 1920s, after World War I, he went to Paris, of course, because that's what we know now is where all the great musicians were. He met Claude Debussy, and he met some other composers as well. And they heard his stuff, and they were really infatuated with his Brazilian sound. And they encouraged him. They said, learn what we're doing, but keep this Brazilian, because that is what's making you so unique. So he did. He created this great work called Chorus Number 10, which blended this beautiful chorus, choir, with street rhythms. And it was very different than things that I had heard. Now, all of a sudden, these European audience are hearing this Brazilian musical language come through kind of on the back of their own musical language. After that, he goes back to Brazil. Now, at this point, Brazil had gone through a whole political change and upheaval, and now it had become a republic and was independent. And the government wanted to have everything Brazilian and claim their independence. And he said, okay, no problem. And he began a music education program within the school program. And so all kids were now starting to learn music and able to express themselves in a Brazilian way. Now, besides creating this massive music education program and starting children's choirs all over, he was still composing, and he wrote this massive Baquianas Brasileiras series. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but these are 9 suites written between 1930 and 1945. They perfectly merge the counterpoint of Bach's music with Brazilian rhythms and popular music, folk music. It is a unique, perfect blend, very him. You should go listen to it. Not only was he an educator and a composer, but he was actually the cultural ambassador, really, self-proclaimed in a way, of Brazil. He was touring all over Europe, all over the Americas, and he was beloved by the audiences because he was very boisterous and flamboyant, and he had this dark curly hair and these fiery eyes, and was a great storyteller. Besides telling stories through his compositions, like he was just very good with audiences, and he loved this part of his life. In his personal life, things might not have been going so well. He ended up divorcing Lucilia, but then he met and married Aminda, and they became lifelong partners. And she was very great and a great assistant for him as well. He was known to be stubborn, very temperamental, but also very humorous, very patriotic. And he would often say, I am the folklore of Brazilian. I am not. It's not like he was representing the folklore of Brazil. He was the folklore of Brazil. His later years, he continued to enjoy his fame. He continued to perform everywhere, and then he slowed down, but his compositions were still performing everywhere. He would write for famous soloists. He also wrote some movie scores. And then in his early 70s, he passed away in Rio de Janeiro. Thousands and thousands of people attended his funeral. He was a national hero in a way. He is celebrated as Brazil's greatest classical composer to this day. He blended everything so well. What he took was all this folklore music, all this native music, and made it playable for many people to enjoy. Go listen to some Villa Lobos.